Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a little, this sounds silly, but Zoom makeup tutorial just to give yourself a little glow when you're going into all of your Zoom meetings during the quarantine. I feel like a lot of the time I just roll straight out of bed to my day, which is like not a healthy lifestyle, I think, but on the days that I do put a little effort into my appearance, I feel more confident. I feel like I'm more productive. Who knows if I actually am. So I wanted to share with you some of the ways that I get ready when I do get ready. And I feel like every year I do an everyday makeup tutorial and then I like go AWOL for the rest of the year. And simply it's because, one, I always have these grand expectations for my YouTube channel, and then I just get like tired and sort of depressed. And I work full-time, so you know, when I'm not working I'm just tired. So I'm hoping to make more videos this year, but this is kind of an updated everyday makeup routine plus how to look alive on Zoom. So I hope you enjoy. I got a few new things from Ulta that I'm excited to try, one of them being the organic blending eggs from Beauty Bakery. It looks like this. How cute is this? So it's a little egg carton and it comes with 6 little sponges in a variety of colors, so I'm excited to try this. Another thing that I've been using that I'm obsessed with, but I had one that was like 4 years old and I think it made me break out, is it made me break out because it was expired, not because it's a bad product. The Wet n Wild Photo Focus Face Primer Dewy Luminous, I don't know. I like to put a little bit on the back of my hand, just the smallest amount. And I feel like this is kind of a dupe to MAC Strobe Cream. It's just a primer that has a little bit of a shimmer, so if you have a more oily complexion, this might not be the vibe for you, but I have very dry skin, so I feel like the more shine, the more vibrance I can bring to my situation, the better. So I'm going to take a little on my blender and just put it on the high points. I kind of like to put it where I would put highlighter, so on the top of my cheek and just all around my face. Another key tip for glowy makeup is to do your skincare religiously, but also before you do your makeup. I feel like that really helps. And I will link the video I made earlier this year, or was it last year, that talked about my favorite skincare products. So I've never used this sponge before, but I actually like it better than the Beauty Blender because it's a little bigger. It feels a little thicker, like, I don't know, more substantive, and yeah, I like the vibes. So I put that all over my face, and honestly most times when I do my makeup for Zoom I don't wear foundation. I'll just kind of do a cream blush and a cream highlighter. Like I think this is a mix between a primer and a cream highlighter in my opinion, but today I will do a little foundation, and sometimes I do. It just depends on time and if I feel like it. So I'm going to put a little on the back of my hand. And then this is the NARS Pure Radiant Tinted Moisturizer. It has sunscreen in it and it's in the shade Light Zero. I've used this for a while and I really like it. I got it, I can't remember, I used to use what's it called? Laura Mercier tinted moisturizer, but they changed their shades or something and I just couldn't find one that I felt like matched my skin. So I changed over to the NARS one and haven't looked back. Definitely not full coverage. It's a very light coverage. So I think it could work well for most skin, but you know, if you have more acne or more blemishes, you might need like a heavier concealer or a more thick foundation. Foundation I really like that I think is pretty full coverage is the Wet n Wild I think it's called Photo Focus. I think it's the same like line as this primer, and I really like that, and it's very price to move. So as you can see, not a huge difference, but I do think it's buildable if you wanted it to be more coverage. I just like a light coverage personally. So after I do my foundation, I like to do my concealer. So the concealer I use is the Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Fair. And this is definitely a more pricey concealer, so a good dupe for this I think is the e.l.f. concealer. And the thing with this is it is so thick that you really don't need that much. I just put some on the back of my hand, and I feel like when you put it on the back of your hand and use your beauty blender, you have a lot more control of where it goes. So I'm going to use the tip of the sponge. And I like to go right under my eye. And I like to go a little bit on the side of my eye, like right here. And honestly, most of the time I end up just using my finger because I feel like it can get in there, like get into your eyes a little bit closer than the sponge can. And then I put any excess on my finger on my eyelid, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Sometimes I'll use concealer on blemishes, but I don't really have any other than a little bit on my forehead. But I kind of feel like less is more when it comes to concealer, especially this concealer, because it is so thick that you can get cakey really easily. So in the name of using all the product that's on my hand, I'll just put some on my forehead. Okay. And now, before I set anything, this is something new, cream blush. I was not a cream blush person. Not because I was anti-cream blush, I just didn't know about the beauty of cream blush. So I like to use this Glossier Cloud Paint. I have two shades. I have the shade Puff and the shade Beam. Sorry, my dog's playing with his toys, so if you hear growling, that's why. And I don't really have a preference between the two. I kind of just go based off of, like, if I'm doing a more bronzed look, I'll use the more peach tone color, but on an everyday basis I kind of just use the classic pink. So, and the thing is, you just need the smallest amount. I always end up squeezing too much onto the back of my hand, but like, you just need the tiniest little dot. So like, I have about this much on my hand, like seriously so little. And let's see how far that takes us. I usually just use my finger with the cloud paint because I don't really want to get my sponge colorful. And I feel like it sinks into the skin better. So I used to put my blush on the apples of my cheeks, but now I kind of push it more back here because I saw a TikTok, and I feel like the TikTok was very convincing that if you put it in this area, you'll look a little more chiseled. And who couldn't look more chiseled? So I'm just putting it over here. Kind of almost meshing it with my concealer by my eyes. And then any excess I just like to put on the tip of my nose. I feel like I read somewhere, and it could have been TikTok, I feel like everything I know about makeup now is from TikTok. But if you put it on your nose, it kind of looks like a natural sunburn, and so it kind of makes your blush look a little more natural. So once I've finished all the cream products, I'll set my makeup. And I used to use the Laura Mercier translucent powder, and I love that, but it's just so expensive. So I looked for dupes on Ulta, and this is the CoverGirl Clean Professional Loose Powder in the shade Translucent Fair. And I have never used it, so this will be a journey. For baking and using powder, I like to use a dry beauty blender, or there's this, I think this is from Morphe, and it has this nice angle, which is nice if you want to carve out your cheeks. But I feel like the beauty blender is a little thinner, so it's easier to get in my eyes. But before we do that, I like to just go over my eyes one more time with my finger and make sure there's not any creasing. And creasing just means it kind of looks cakey underneath your eye, or it's like settling into your under eye wrinkles, if you have them, because I do. So once I tap that out, I'm gonna take a little bit of powder. I'm kind of nervous. All right. Oh, interesting. Comes with this little puff. I don't think I'll be using this. It kind of creeps me out, to be honest. It looks like a little furry thing. I don't really like those vibes. So let's peel this off. Oh, goody. I was hoping that would spray all over me. All right. First impression is it does have a scent. I don't really love powders with a scent. My mom's allergic to fragrance, and I feel like I'm on the same journey. So it's just a matter of time till I'm allergic to fragrance. And my skin is so sensitive, but I really hate when they put unnecessary fragrance in things. It is my pet peeve. Okay, first impression is this powder is a little darker than the translucent powder, so I'm hoping it will still kind of have the same effect. Let's see. Putting a little on my beauty blender and putting it under the eye. You know what? This is actually really light. It doesn't look as light as it's going to be on your face in the pan, I think. So, just putting that under my eye, concentrating in this little area. And you don't really want to press it in too hard. I'm just kind of lightly dusting it over where I put that concealer and on my eyes. Again, as kind of an eyeshadow primer setting situation. I also really like to do this like a thick layer of powder if I'm going to do an eyeshadow look in case any fallout happens. So if any eyeshadow moves down to under my eyes, I can just sweep it away. So something else new that I've been doing is I haven't been filling in my eyebrows. I've just been using a brow gel, and I go between using a clear soap with just a dry or a wet spoolie and this Benefit Gimme Brow and this NYX Professional Makeup Tinted Brow Mascara. But this one has been my favorite, the NYX one, because it is a little darker. So I feel like when you're just doing the brow gel, it's nice to do kind of a shade darker than you think you need to make them look a little more full. But I just go through and push up all my hairs. I've been really into that laminated look. I don't know if you all know what brow lamination is, but basically they put some sort of magic thing on your eyebrows and then put what looks like saran wrap over them, and it kind of makes them all stick straight up. Some people love that vibe. I'm one of those people. Some people do not. Okay, that was a wee bit frustrating. My camera ran out of storage, so it's been about 20 minutes. So real quick, I'm gonna wipe off the bake that's been sitting far too long under my eyes. So I'm just taking a loose brush and just swiping under the eye. Normally, I would only leave this for like 2 to 5 minutes, but you know, it is what it is. But I really do actually like this powder. So now we are going to use the NYX Brow Gel, and again, like I said, just putting it in the brows and pushing up. So this brow's been done, but this brow hasn't, so there is kind of a difference. And so I'm going to do the other side. If you do feel like your brow hairs are sparse, feel free to add a pencil to this situation. But just putting all the hairs up. So we use translucent powder under our eyes, and now we're going to use a face powder that's closer to the shade of my skin, just on a loose fluffy brush and putting it all over the face. This will help to just make sure everything stays in place and that it's all even. Sometimes I'll do eyeshadow, but a lot of times I don't. When I do, I'll just take some of my bronzer and put it on my eyes. And sometimes I put on bronzer with this look, but because it's such a light coverage foundation, I kind of don't feel the need to put too much powder on. So I just go straight to blush. I'm using this Bare Minerals blush palette, and let me get my blush brush. Just using a Bobbi Brown blush brush that I've had forever. Any loose brush will do. I'm mixing the peach and the pink tones. And I like to make sure I tap this way off, because otherwise it's going to be too pigmented. Oh good, my battery's dying now too. So just putting it the same place we put that cream blush. Alright, I charged the battery, so between filling up my memory card and the battery, things have been a little chaotic. Alright, but we keep going. So I just put blush right in that same area as the cream blush, so right around here, and I can even bring it up a little. I like to bring it into the hairline, and then again, so just this area, circular light motions, and then on the nose. And if you put too much blush, which I do pretty much every time, just take that same powder brush that has some leftover face powder and buff it out. Now what I do is I curl my eyelashes. So I'm going to do that real quick. And then I like to use the Glossier lash slit. Just comb that through my eyelashes. And then next, we're just going to put on a little spot of highlighter. So I'm using this Ofra highlighter in the shade Star Island and a fan brush. Just putting it at the high points of my face. And then the final step is I'm going to use some setting spray. This is the mini continuous setting spray from Morphe. I haven't had a setting spray in a while, but I've always wanted to try this. Jeez. Ooh. That was refreshing and a very nice spray. I can see why it gets the hype. Then I just take my beauty blender and press it all in. And sometimes after this step, I'll go over my eyebrows one more time to make sure that they didn't get any highlighter in them. And for lips, I just like to do a clear gloss. Very natural. Yeah, and throughout the day, I will curl my eyelashes a few times just to make sure they're staying up. But this is the final look. I'll take you into some better lighting so you can see in all its glory. Alright, so here is the makeup look in some better light. It's been a few hours because I had to charge my camera, and the iPhone just wasn't doing it justice when I tried to show it on the iPhone. But here's the skin. So very glowy. It almost looks like I'm not wearing makeup, but that's the key with Zoom makeup. You want to look like you are glowing from within. You just feel so happy to be there. You're radiating glow. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and here's for hoping that this won't be my only video of 2020. What year is it? What time is it? Goodbye.